Can you really have fun with a non-SI Honda Civic, and are they any good?
So the short answer is yes, but not every non-SI Civic is going to be fun. This one specifically is a two-door coupe, so it's lighter. It has a 5-speed manual transmission, which certainly helps with the overall fun of the car. So it's a lot lighter, so it's going to handle better, and it's going to accelerate a lot faster. And obviously the manual is fun for manual reasons. At least in my opinion, manual is more fun. Some people prefer auto, but that's just kind of a personal preference thing. So this car only has 140 horsepower, which is obviously not that much, but it also doesn't weigh much. It weighs just a little over a Mazda Miata, which is one of the lightest cars you can buy. This is one of the lightest versions of a Honda Civic that you can buy. It's got a manual transmission, and as I said earlier, it only has 2 doors, which cuts down on a lot of weight. It also has a tiny little 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine, which doesn't weigh a whole lot. It also doesn't make a ton of power, but since it's so light, it doesn't need a ton of power to be fun.
So the weight of this car definitely helps with its handling, but it's also extremely low to the ground, which also helps a lot with the handling and the sporty feel of the car. One of the first things you notice when you get in one of these 8th gen Honda Civics is just how low and sporty it feels. It feels like you're sitting in a go-kart. The overall feel of the car feels very sporty. It feels like a sports car, when that's obviously not what it is. It's an economy car that they had a little bit of fun with when they were making it. It feels like a sports car, but you have all the nice things about an economy car as well. Now, of course, it doesn't have everything that a sports car has, and it doesn't have everything a normal economy car would have, because it's kind of a compromise between the both. It's not super sporty, it's not super fast, but it's also not extremely comfortable, and it doesn't have all the luxuries and heated seats and everything, all the comforts that you would find in a normal economy car. As a result of the mixture of sportiness and economy, fuel efficiency and comfort, you get a very fun car that still rides nice, gets incredible fuel economy. It's advertised at 30 to 40 miles per gallon, which is absolutely insane. It's not overly uncomfortable, but it is a very low, tiny car, so it's not gonna ride like a big plush SUV. It's not super smooth, but it's also not as harsh as a sports car would be. It's kind of in the middle. Even the whole interior of the car feels quite sporty, but it's also pretty comfortable. And with that comfort and economy side of this car, you get quite a lot of trunk space. I usually leave the back seats folded down just because I don't always have that many passengers. And with the back seats down, you get a ton of space. Without the back seats down, it's not terrible either. I mean, it's plenty of room for your average grocery run or anything like that, especially with the back seats down. I can fit a bass and a guitar along with my backpack and a bunch of other things in the back of this car comfortably with plenty of room to spare. Of course, that is with the back seats folded down, so if you have to take more than one other passenger, then you're going to run into a bit of an issue there. But you still have plenty of room even with the back seats folded up. Another thing to take into consideration when you're looking to buy a Civic, if you want to go with a non-SI Civic like this one here, they're a lot cheaper than an SI. Most of the SIs I've seen are about like 7 to 10 grand. I haven't looked at it a bunch, so I could be off on the average with that. But most of the non-SIs that I see, especially the coupes and 5-speed manuals like this one right here, are about like 3 to 5 grand. I bought this one for under 3 grand, which is absolutely insane, especially considering the amount of fun you can have with one of these cars. Now, this kind of comes down to personal preference, but at least I think these cars look absolutely incredible. I mean, obviously I bought one. That might be a slightly biased opinion because I own one, but I think it's just such a cool little car. That is, if you can ignore the clear coat all peeling off the top of my car, then it looks really, really good. But if you look at it from the side or down low, it looks incredible. Just the whole profile of the car looks really, really nice. I love the proportions of the whole thing. Just with the 2 doors, it's just a pretty little car. Anyways, enough talking about this car. Let's take it out for a drive so I can show you just how much fun this thing actually is. All right, now that we're on the road, we've got some good curves coming up on this route. The first one being right here. You'll see that this car can certainly be a ton of fun. Every single time I drive this car, it puts a smile on my face. It's always fun. I never have a boring drive with this car. Like I was saying earlier, it feels very sporty. It feels like you're sitting in a little sports car. You're very low to the ground. You can adjust the seat to feel like you're really laying back. It's obviously very low to the ground, and you can feel that when you're driving. and you can adjust your seat to really feel like you're laid back, like you're actually sitting in an actual sports car rather than a Honda Civic, which feels pretty sick. The ride is pretty comfortable, although it's a little bit more harsh than, you know, like a more modern vehicle or obviously an SUV. But it's not like sports car stiff. So you get some extra performance and a little bit better handling and better feeling through the corners, but you're not being shaken to death anytime you go over a couple of bumps. It's still relatively comfortable. You can definitely feel every bump you drive over, but you feel it kind of in a smooth way, if that makes sense. Like, you feel the bumps, but you kind of roll over them instead of just smacking right into them.
All of the fun corners that I take in this video look pretty lame because it was filmed on a GoPro, and the GoPro just kind of makes everything cool look kind of lame. So that's the only reason for that, but I promise it's so much fun in real life.
This car's 0 to 60 and just straight line speed in general is certainly not exactly impressive. It's definitely lacking in power, which is something that you get a lot more of with the SI, but its handling and overall feel is still really nice and really good. When I'm taking the corners, it still feels really fun. It still feels nimble, and I mean, it's a small car, especially with the two-door coupe. It's a very small, light, compact car that you can really just whip around corners. You can definitely feel the size and the weight of this car while you're driving. It feels very, very nice. Of course, the manual transmission helps a lot with the fun factor of this car. The non-SI Civics of this generation, which is the 8th generation, got a 5-speed manual transmission, whereas the SIs get a 6-speed. I know that's going to vary between generations of these Honda Civics, but at least for the 8th gen, non-SI gets 5-speed, SI gets the 6-speed. It's still a good transmission, it shifts pretty nicely. This whole generation did have some slight synchro issues, so the synchros in my transmission are actually not perfect, so it's a little crunchy every now and then when I shift, but it's not that big of a deal. I've also installed some upgraded aluminum Acuity base shifter bushings, if I said that right, in this car, so that also helps with the feel of the shifter. You can check out that video right up here actually if you'd like to see that. But even before that upgrade, it felt pretty nice, but those certainly help with the feel a little bit more. Now, its straight line speed, yes, it's not amazing and it's not exactly impressive, but it's still not awful considering it has a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine that makes 140 horsepower. It's really not that bad, especially if you rev it out. It's still fun, it sounds cool for a 4-cylinder, obviously not if you like straight pipe it or something, but you pretty much get all engine noise in this car and you don't really hear anything from the exhaust out on the back end. Now, can you enjoy a non-SI 8th gen Honda Civic or any generation of Honda Civic that's not the SI? My honestly unbiased answer is absolutely yes, you can. No, not everything about this car is perfect and it's not all wonderful, including the amount of horsepower that you have. Stock, it's not much, but everything else about this car, I absolutely love it. It's a great car. It's fun to drive. It's nice as just a daily driver as well, but it's when you want to have fun with it, you absolutely can have fun with it. Now, I will say, if you're used to faster, higher horsepower cars, then it might be a little bit boring for you. But if you're used to just normal cars, this will still be a fun car for you, and you will definitely still enjoy it. So these non-SI Honda Civics look incredible. They sound pretty good. They're not the fastest in a straight line, but they handle really well, and they're overall a ton of fun to drive. You can modify them if you want, you can make them faster, and I've done a few little budget modifications, if you can call them that, and I'm still doing some more of those. I actually got one just not too long ago. I've still got to install that, and I've got a couple other ones that I'm thinking about buying, so stay tuned for those videos because I will be modifying this car just a little bit more in the future. And I keep saying how little power this car has, but if you do a little couple downshifts, you get a little bit more power. I don't know, it's exciting and fun to me. I really enjoy this car. If you want to see more videos about this car, you can click right up here for a full playlist about that. And if you want to see just a review and my initial reaction on when I bought this car, you can click right up here for that, and I'll see you over there.